Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Mike Reese, Peter Weiken. He's the owner of this boat, which is 1170 hull number 5. We're here at Le Grand Mot. Thank you, Peter, for letting us use your boat at the show. Fantastic. And we just thought it would be a great opportunity to hear a bit from one of our new owners. We've only recently launched the boat, only 5-6 weeks ago, and the boat came out of the factory in Izmir, Turkey, brought up to the show here, and Peter was on board, and what a great opportunity to just get a bit of insight as to what it's like to own an 1170. So yeah, welcome Peter, thank you.
No, thanks Mike.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we do. We've got a lot of repeat buyers. I mean, the boat that we've got next to us here, that's a fourth time Seawind owner on the 1370 here. Yeah. So yeah, okay, so yeah, a bit of awareness about our buyers and repeat buyers and resale value. Yeah, that's good. And yeah, so and what about specifically this boat, the 1170?
So actually, originally I was going to buy the 1370, and then COVID hit and everything was put aside. But a couple of years later I started looking at it again, and we went to the show in boat show in Annapolis, and I had a choice going the 1370 or the 1170. So the answer to the question was, what can I have the soonest? And I would have to wait like 3 years for the 1370 or something like that, because the backlog there, backup. But the 1170 was like 1 year. And I said, I'm getting older, I may as well choose this 1170.
COVID did that to a few people. The time is now.
Correct. And I must admit, I'm really, especially after sail down here and things like that, I really enjoyed this boat. Right? I was able to watch the whole process from the beginning, and actually made some changes that were also new to Seawind. And they were working together with me to get that solved. I brought in my own electric kitchen. I didn't want any.
Yeah, we'll go through that in a while. But but Peter had some ideas and worked with the factory, and we've got some really nice options on this boat, which we'll go through a little bit later. So yeah, so quite obviously the 1370 and 45 foot, and it's a big 45 footer, to coming down to the 1190. Now that you've been on board, how do you feel about the size of the boat for you?
Actually, I'm very pleased that we bought the 1170. Okay. Initially it was like, okay, but when I walked back on the 1370, I said, I really like this. Yeah, it just fits me right with my wife and everything like that.
Yeah, it's. This boat at 39 foot it's got a lot of volume, and I think people come on it, and just having done the show now, showing this in Europe for the first time, a lot of people are new to Seawind seeing the boat. They go, you know what? It's enough. It does enough for a couple going cruising, and it's compact, and it's got a lot of volume and a lot of comfort, and it's sufficient for what most people need actually.
Correct. Yeah. We could full-time live in this one, my wife and I.
Yeah. Okay, so talk a bit about Turkey. Obviously you went over there. I know you had a good time. What was that like?
Okay, so initially I was like, okay, the boat is being built in Turkey, and I go like, what is Turkey like? Right? Well, how much experience do they have in boat building? I checked all that. And my wife and I decided to go over and have a look. We were invited, but we also really wanted to go and see it. And we were very surprised when we got to Turkey, not because of the Seawind, but because of the Turkish hospitality. It's a great country, lots of history, and excellent breakfast. Excellent.
Makes a difference.
I think any breakfast, I've traveled a lot in the world, right? So any breakfast that I've seen around, I've never seen something like that.
But I'm just blown away what they've achieved. It's fantastic. It really is. The quality's fantastic, but there's some really nice little detail components that's added.
Correct.
But some of which you've helped drive, right? So I think you were very much wanting to go for the electric setup. So in the galley. So just talk us through what have we got down below.
So we have a cooktop. I grew up as induction, and I know how efficient it is, how fast it works. It uses very little electricity, and it's actually much safer. You have no open flame. The plate doesn't get hot, and there's nothing on there and things like that. A pot of water boils in the minute and a half. You know,
Fast.
very fast. Yeah. And also, what I wanted is something that I grew up with. Is I wanted a convection, or maybe convection oven is integrated with a microwave. And we were able to find those models, you know, at 38 centimeters in this case. I think there's one made in the United States, there's one made in the Netherlands, and here, you know, include that on board. Yes.
Yeah, so you sourced the oven, which actually looks fantastic, and then we've got our standard Kenyan, the bridge, the 2-burner there, which looks very nice, and it's a very nice setup. So with that, we had we went with a bigger inverter to make sure we were powering it. Full lithium setup. We've got a Victron setup on this boat, which you know, it's a great system.
That was one of my other choices, right? Because it's easy to work with Victron. I mean, Mastervolt is a super system. There's no question about it. But when you're out in the line and somewhere you have some problems or you want to make some changes, for me at least, it's easier to work with.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, in build. Obviously, the factory there is purpose built. It's beautiful there. The factory is so nicely set up. But what about post build? You're coming through. We got the boat from the factory 30 minutes down the road in the water. Tell us a bit about your handover and then getting to here.
Okay, so we got to Turkey and the mast should have been installed already, but the winds are at 35 knots and they were not able to install the mast. So we got that whole process. We saw the whole process, which was really interesting. And then we still had to wait a few days before we could get on the boat and see a test sail and go out there and see. We kind of, you know, we really would like to get on this and see. Of course, the weather was like 2 degrees Celsius, 35 knot winds, and when we finally got on the boat, we were kind of concerned because I didn't buy a heater. If the air conditioning system, which is a heat pump, could heat the cabin enough to, or the saloon enough, and the cabins, to make it comfortable. And what is the usage of the water should be used because of the battery system and everything like that.
It does get quite cool in Turkey. People are surprised that, you know.
Well, I read that it was, I think this was kind of extraordinary, you know, at least what the local people told me. So they didn't do it very often. So I was very surprised that it kept here at night, you know, in the evening, no sunlight outside. 21 degrees Celsius, right?
The reverse cycle.
And, reverse cycle. And then, while we put it in night mode, it only used 600 watts per hour. So, when I got up in the morning, it only had used like 3,800 watts, and I thought it's pretty good for having 13,200 watts on board, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got full solar array on board, and you know, I've been watching this at the show. This boat hasn't been plugged into shore power at all.
Correct.
It's just ticking on nicely. We've got fridges and freezers running. Yeah,
we didn't start the engines.
It's
92% right now.
Yeah. And we're overcast, and that's good.
As a matter of fact, it's producing right now, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, no, we're in the rain, and we can see on the Victron unit, 173 watts. Yeah,
correct.
Coming through. Very good. So, but you did get to go out for a sail. The weather died down a bit.
Yes.
Did your test sailing out of the marina in Izmir?
Yes.
And how was that? So you had
it was really rough weather.
Yeah?
Really rough weather. Yes.
Straight into it.
And we went straight into the wind to put the sail up. I think the winds were about 18 knots or something like that. Wave height I don't remember anymore. But we are a hobby horse and going straight into the wind.
Baptism of fire.
Then we, turned away from the wind, we got a lot better ride.
Yeah.
It sailed real well. And we had also actually the manager of Ullman Sails on board.
That's great. We've got some. In Turkey, there's a good number of local suppliers and resources that are available there to come in. So the Ullman guys who obviously they're keen to get their sails tested and make sure they're happy with them. They're all sail makers are always refined and things. So that's good.
Yes.
And then it was quite short after that period then when we needed to bring the boat up here. So you had a relatively short period in Izmir, and then we had a professional delivery skipper come up with Peter. And tell us about that trip, because that's a decent passage from Turkey to France.
It was. I mean, I've been most of my life a coastal sailor, and this was more open water, and of course quite different conditions. You were in a schedule, right? So we had to get there by a certain time. And we sailed in weather that I normally would not really, kind of avoid.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah, I mean that's what you should be aiming to do, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there were some surprises, unforecasted weather and things like that.
The med can change quite quickly.
Yeah, the Gulf of Patras is the worst.
Yeah. So what sort of conditions were you seeing, and what was life like in those conditions on board?
First of all, I noticed the boat was very controlled. Okay, in any conditions that we had on this trip, and that there were several close haul and things like that. Immediate response at the helm and things like that if you needed it. Yeah, we had I don't know if I should talk about this, but we had that 2 reefs in there and kind of caught off guard when the waves went up to about 3.5 meters.
Yeah.
41 knots of wind. We could not put sail down. I mean, we had to sail with the flow and things like that, and it was work, but the boat handled. We had to jibe a couple of times to get away from the coastline.
Yeah. That's tough when you're in those conditions and you're needing to jibe when you're double reef, and if you said you got that sort of level 40 knots of wind, then that's tough to manage. So probably good that you had your professional skipper with you in the early stages.
Yes. So I mean, he of course put the travel into center and things like that slowly turned.
Yeah.
But he was also bound to certain restrictions because of the waves. So he had to steer the boat, according to the waves instead of the wind and things like that.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, we were glad that we got out of Gulf of Patras.
Yeah. And what sort of I heard you mention the other day that you were surfing down waves at, was it 16 knots or what are they?
Yeah, it was just 16 knots.
That's a good first outing for a boat like this. It's great. Yeah. But in reality, I mean, this sort of our design philosophy and where we sit on the scale of performance, our boats are solidly built and they can normally handle it more than the people on board. They can take quite a beating. The Seawinds, they're structurally very sound. They're not super lightweight and tippy. They're pretty cool. So I hope you experience that. I experienced all those conditions. Yes, I've been very impressed by how the boat was managed these conditions, and this captain, where I was sitting there like, whoa, I would not rather not be here. The professional captain we had on board was just sitting there, kind of like this sort around, like okay, it's quite normal and things like that. The boat just rode the waves really nice, even on autopilot. Perhaps not the journey that you'll do with your wife when she's on board.
No. My wife would be very seasick. Yes.
Yeah, take it easy and ease into it. But great. I mean, what an experience to know straight up that the boat's capable. Correct. And you can feel comfortable in that. So that's good.
Yeah. Even close when we did close holds, 50 degrees, 45 degrees, and we had the 1.5 meter. 2-meter waves or something like that. I took it off the autopilot and it was riding the waves and things like that. I mean, it was actually so controllable. I got some wet face, once and also spray in my face. But the whole trip of 1,500 nautical miles, we only got like one little bucket of water back, all the way back there on splash one time. That was very surprising.
No, it's interesting being at the show, explaining to people. There's so many people in Europe that haven't seen our trifold door set up and explaining that actually, I mean, sure, if you've got following seas, always door down, but it's surprising with our protected helm position how much you can actually sail the door up and feel very comfortable with driving rain coming over the top.
Correct.
It's fine. It's very, very protected. So.
I mean, even when we had one door open, and we just want to make sure that if something were to, some water would come into, we just close the door. Yeah. Actually, the whole trip there was no water in the cockpit at all that came from the sea, except some spray, but nothing like a wave or anything.
Yeah, good. So excellent. So from here, the boat's heading back down to Turkey.
Correct.
Yeah. So Richard Ward, the company owner who's over for the show, is going to sail with Peter for a bit and just enjoy some of the coastline here, and I think it's great that you guys can spend a bit of time. So, and then back to Turkey, and you'll have the boat kept at the marina there, because we've got our service centre. The marina is about 30 minutes away from the factory, and at the moment we've got about, I think it's about 7 or 8 Seawinds there. So this would, you know, breeze easy returning or being underrated. So
we keep going like this. I mean, it's going to be a Seawind marina, you know, and things like that. It seems people like to come in there. Once they find out about a Turkish breakfast and things like that, and the hospitality, it is super. You know, you know, they like to stay there. It's well protected. And,
oh yeah, I've got to say, you know, it must be more than just the breakfast, because everyone that's been to the factory so far and spent time with Catamarans, been to the marina, they're all, I'm gonna launch in Turkey and I'm gonna stay there for a while. So they're obviously very good hosts, which is good. So, well, look, Peter, thank you for giving us a bit of an insight. Welcome to the Seawind family. It's great to have you on board, and obviously, I'm sure you'll be in touch with our other owners. We've got great. You know, we've got our owners group, and it's, you know, the communication with our owners. I love to see we've got our Facebook owners group, and they're exchanging stories and exchanging tips and ideas. And I'm sure, as one of the early owners, you'll have a lot of input to tell people.
Richard put a challenge out there. I mean, he kind of like told me. I told him that I was really appreciative of building such great boats, you know, for so many years and things like that, and I could experience that right now in this later part of my life, essentially after retirement. So Richard asked me, he says, or he didn't ask me, he said, you might see it differently when you get your friends right after this trip. So actually, a couple of days ago, I talked to him and I said, I'll give you the answer on that. You know, I said, I love the boat more. So that's
good. That's good. Good to hear. Very happy.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on taking delivery.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for all you do. You know, for Seawind and things like that. And I'm happy to be a part of it. Really enjoyed it.
Welcome to the team. Good. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, guys.